In this video, I will show you step by step how to create a stunning website using the Astra WordPress theme and Elementor page builder. Whether you are a total beginner or just looking to speed up your process, by the end of this tutorial you will have your own professional looking website ready to launch and impress. No coding, no fluff, just a clean modern website built the easiest way. So grab a coffee, follow along, and let's get started. So right here you can see this is what we are going to cover. I will walk you through that how to set up the Astra theme from scratch in WordPress, and then I will show you how to edit or use the Astra theme professionally, and I will also show you how you can use the customizer option to change the colors, fonts and layouts in the Astra theme. After that I will show you how you can build the essential pages, and then I will also show you how you can set up a blog in WordPress using the Astra theme and Elementor. After that I will walk you through about the Astra Header and Footer Builder, and then I will create a home page that you can follow along and create by your own. After that I will show you how you can set up these blog layouts in the Astra theme, and at the last I will show you how you can optimize your website for the mobile and for the speed. So if you are interested, let's get started. So right here you can see I have a fresh WordPress installed here. From here what you want to do is to go to the dashboard, and once you will go to the dashboard, from here just hover over to appearance and then click on themes. Once you will click on themes, here you can see right now I have Hello Elementor, which is not what I want to use, so you can just click on add theme, and from here just search for Astra, or you will find it here. So just type Astra here, and this is the theme that we want to use. Click on install. Once it will get installed, just click activate, and once the theme will get activated you will find it something like this, and right here you will have the new option that will say Astra. Now if you hover over here and click on visit site, you will see that the appearance will be changed. That is because of the Astra theme. So now that we have the Astra theme installed, we can basically start doing some essential WordPress settings. So in order to do these essential WordPress settings, just hover over to these settings and click on this general. Once you will click on this general, make sure you have a site title and a tagline attached, and you can also attach a site icon here. You can see I already have a site title, tagline and site icon attached here, and after that you can just click on save changes. Once that is done, you can then click on this media option right here, and whatever number you see here, just remove them. WordPress by default creates a lot of copy of the images, and you can basically restrict them by adding the 0 value here. After that just click on permalinks, and from here just ensure that you have this post name selected. Once that is done, we can basically start creating our pages. So let's just go to the pages, and here you can see right now I only have this home page here. I also want to create some other pages. To give you more information about what we are doing, this is one of my client website, and this is really an old design, and what he wants me to do is to create a new design taking the reference from this website. So throughout this tutorial we are going to create something like this using the Astra theme and Elementor page builder. I'll walk you through about everything, and you will learn how you can do these things yourself. So let's just go back. So here you can see we have home, services, testimonials, blog and contact. So this is what we are going to create. So we have home. Let's just click on add page, and once you will click on the add page, from here what you want to do is to call it services. This is going to be the page title, and once you will call it services, just click on this publish button right here. Once that is done, you can click on these 3 dots and then just click on this full screen mode, so that you will have this left side panel open. This is easier for navigation, so you can just click on add pages. Just click on the save button right here and then click on add pages. After that what I want to add is an about page, so insert the about page title and then click publish. Then we'll have a blog page, so let's just call it blog and then click publish. And then after that what I want to do is to insert the contact page, so just add contact and click publish. And this is basically how you can create all of these pages. Now if we go to the front end of the website, you can see all of these pages are showing up here, but I actually want to change the order but I actually want to change the order of this menu item. So in order to do that, what you want to do is to go back to the dashboard of your website, and once you will go to the dashboard, from here just hover over to appearance and then click on this menus. Once you will click on menus, from here it will ask you to enter the menu name. I generally keep it normal menu or main navigation. This is only for your reference and it will not show up on the front end. So just click on create menu, and once you will click on create menu, the menu will be created. Now we have a menu, we need to insert the elements inside of this menu. So right here you can see we have these pages. You can click on view all, click on select all, and then click add to menu, and this will insert all the pages in the menu, except you will have this custom link. So just click on this arrow, it will expand this, and then click remove, and then it will remove this menu. Now you can basically rearrange the order by clicking on it, holding and dragging it wherever you want it. So I want the home to be the front page, and then the contact to be the last page, and then we'll have the services. After the services I want to have the blog page, and then about and contact. From here just click on save changes, and once you will click on save changes, be sure you select this primary menu from here, and then you can just click on save changes. Now if we go back to the front end of our website, and if you can see here, you can see we have home, services, blog, about and contact. So this is basically how you can create all of these pages. Now that we have created these pages, let me just install the Astra Pro plugin. So I'll just click on add plugin, and from here I'll just click on upload plugin, choose file. This is the Astra add-on that I want to install. So I'll just click on install now. By the way, if you want to keep the file of this Astra file, I'll drop the link in the description. You can download it from here, but this is only for the education purposes. If you want to use it for the commercial purposes, I highly encourage you to get the license from the original developers, the Astra. So from here just click on activate plugin, and once you will click on activate plugin, this will get activated. So here you can see it says please activate your copy. I'm not going to activate this copy for this one because this is just for the tutorial purposes. Now that we are here, you will have your option. Right here you can see we have the Astra. You can just click on this dashboard option. So once you will click on this dashboard option, this will give you a dashboard. So now here it will give you information about what comes with Astra, and then from here you can go to the customizer, and then you will have site identity, header builder, footer builder, and all of these different options. When you will have the license key, you can insert the license key and activate it from this place. Now here if you will click on the settings option, under the settings option you will find the same thing. You can insert your license key right here, and then you have some optimization settings right there. Then you have performance option. So here just enable load Google fonts locally, and then flush local font files. And then here under the version controls, if you want to try the beta versions of the theme, you can enable this option, and then we'll have the white label option that comes with Astra Pro. So here you can just enter your author name or the client name or your name, that is your choice. So let's just call it Blue Water Credit, and then here they can insert the URL and the license link. Now here you can insert your own website name. So let me just copy this from here, and then we'll just name it here Blue Water Credit. You can insert the theme description, theme screenshot URL, and theme icon URL, and then this is the Astra Pro branding. So here you can basically white label the thing according to your client and according to your agency. Once that is done, here you can see we have this customize option and the site builder. Let's just look at the site builder option. So if you will click on site builder, Astra theme will give you the option to add the header template, footer template, the hooks, inside post, single, archives, and 404. So this is basically gives you all of these different options. Now here you can see it says need to install ultimate add-on for Elementor to make better layouts for the site builder. So we need to install this ultimate add-ons for Elementor if we want to utilize this. So I'm going to install this ultimate add-ons. They do have a free version. So let's just go back from here, and then from here you can go to these plugins, and this is the time where we can install the Elementor. You can see I already have the Elementor Pro here. If you also want to have the Elementor Pro file, I will drop the link in the description. You can download it from here, again for the education purposes. Now I'll go back here, and then from here we can basically search for ultimate add-on for Elementor. And once you will search for ultimate add-on for Elementor, you can see it doesn't give us the file here, probably because that will be a premium file for them. But here you can see ultimate add-on for Elementor, formerly Elementor Header and Footer. So just click on install now, and once you will click on install now, this will get installed, and then you can basically activate it. So once you will activate this ultimate add-on for Elementor, here you can see this will give you something like this. So from here you can just click on let's get started, and then from here this will ask you to install any of the other recommended plugin if you want to install, or you can just click skip. So I'm going to click skip here, and then in here you can see this gives you following options for free. So you can use a header and footer builder for free, and mega menu and navigation widget for free. So I'm going to activate both of these options from here. And then this model pop-up and WooCommerce widgets, they are premium feature. I'm not going to use them, so we can just click on next. Once you will click on next, here you can see it says you are all set to start creating. So here you can create a new header, or you can create a new footer, or you can create a new page. I can just click on exit setup, and once you will click on exit setup, this will take you back to this place right here. Again, let's just hover over, and if you will click on this site builder right here, you can see now we'll have this option create layout. We are going to create this option just in a while. So let's just click on, hover over to this Astra, and let's click on this customize. Once you will click on customize, this will give you the Astra customization. And from here I will just walk you through how you can customize a website using the Astra customizer. So here under the global option, you have the options to add the global typography, colors, and all the other things. So let me just go to the reference website that we have. So in this reference website, you can see we have following colors and all the other things. So I'm using this font picker extension. So let's just pick the font, and right here you can see they are using this Segoe UI, Roboto, or Helvetica. We can use any of these fonts. So here for the body fonts, let's just pick what body font they are using. So let's just scroll down. We'll probably get somewhere. It's okay. Here they are using Roboto or Helvetica. That's the base font that they are using. So here let's just go there. Let's just pick Helvetica, and font weight will be 400 for the normal font, and then I want it to be 17, and then this is the line height, and this is the letter spacing. And this is the letter spacing, and line height both looks fine. So I'm comfortable using what we have. And then we have this heading font. So for the heading fonts as well, I want to pick the Helvetica font from here, and then I want to be a bold font. I'll be using a bold font for this, and this is basically what we have. And this customizer will inherit these heading fonts throughout these different heading options like the H1, H2, H3, H4 up to H6. And then if you want to have the margin at the bottom of the paragraphs, you can insert it here. And if you want to underline the content links, you can enable this option, otherwise you can disable it. Once done, you can click on this publish, but here you can see our font has been changed. We can go back from here. Next thing that we have is this color option, and if I look at the color in my logo is actually blue. I'm using this ColorZilla extension to pick the color, so I'll just pick the color from here, and I'll replace the brand color, so it will update these colors right here. And I don't want to update this black color and the gray color and the other color, because I think this is actually resonating with my brand colors. In your case, if you want, you can change these colors according to your choice. Once done, you can just click on this publish, and then we have this container option. So under the container option, you can see we have this normal selected, and in the normal we are using boxed layout that have a max width of 1200. I want to make it 30-40 pixels, and it will make it a bit wider, and here you can see this is a bit wider. You have other options. You can use the narrow option and full width option, that is your choice, but I generally use this normal option in the boxed content style with this width right here. Once done, you can go back from here, and next thing that you have is this button option. So under the button option, you have these different button styles available. You can pick any of these button styles. So let's just pick this button style, or we can see what kind. They are using this harsh corner. So we can pick one of these button styles right here, and then we can add the background color. So for the background color, I want it to be the blue color, and then the font or the text color will be white, and when they hover over, I want it to turn to black color with the text color to white. And then if you want to add the border, you can add the border as well, but I guess this is looking fine. Now we can basically go back, and this is the global settings. Next thing that we have is this header options right here. So before we go to the header option, right here you can see we have the site identity. So you can click on site identity, and this will give you again the option to add the site icon that basically show up right here. And then you also have this site title and the other things. So here under the logo width, you can increase or reduce the logo width. So I actually want to reduce the logo width right here. And then here you have this site title option right here. So if you want to disable the site title, you can just uncheck this option, and now you can see we only have this logo right here. And then here you have this inline logo and site title. If you are using the logo, then keep this option enabled. I'm not using the site title, so I'll just disable this option from here. And then you have this set site tagline visibility. We don't want to have the site tagline, so I'm not going to go in details with that. I'll add the value 100 pixels here, and then you have this design option. So here you can add the logo color, title color, and the tagline color. We don't have the heading and tagline, so we don't wanna do any of those things. So we can go back from here. Now if you click on this header, you can see this is exactly the same thing that we did just now. There are a few of the other things, like you have this off canvas menus. So if you click on this off canvas menu, you can insert the off canvas menu. Secondary off canvas menu, we want it to be the main menu right here. So every time we'll have an off canvas menu, we'll have the main menu that show up in the mobile devices. So we can go back from here, and then you can click on this header option once again, and then you have this header. You can click on the transparent header. If you want to have the transparent header, you can just enable this for the complete website, and it will basically make your header transparent. In our case, we don't actually need the transparent header, so I'll just remove it from here. Let's just go back. Next thing that we have is this post type options. Once we'll start creating the blog post, I will walk you through about this blog archive, single post, single page, and all these other options that we have. So let's just go back. Next thing that we have this general. So under the general, we have this breadcrumb options. Of course, we will require the breadcrumb for the blog post, so I'll walk you through about that. Then we have this sidebar options. So on the blog post layouts, we will require the sidebars. I will walk you through about this. And then we have the scroll to top. So I want to enable the scroll to top right here. You cannot see it, but I will set it up once we'll have this home page ready. Next thing that we have this accessibility option. If you want to enable the site accessibility, just keep it enabled, otherwise remove it. Then we have block editor and miscellaneous option. So under the miscellaneous option, you can just enable smooth scroll to ID. That is basically the smooth scroll. Next thing that we have is this footer option right here. So under the footer option, you can see we only have this copyright 2025 blue border credit powered by Astra Theme. So you can just click on this copyright option right here, and once you click here you can see we have this thing here. So I want to change the powered by theme author, and I want to replace it with all rights reserved, something like this. And once you will do that, here you can see this got updated. And if you click on the design tab, you will have the option to control the font sizes, spacing and margin, everything. Now from here you can go back, and here you can see as I hover over, we have this tiny cog icon. So if you will click on the cog icon, this will give you some additional options. So here under the columns, you can see we can have 2 columns, 3 columns, 4, 5, 6, any number of columns. So if you will make it 2 columns, it will divide the entire column into 2 columns. So now we have this on the left side, and we can have it on the right side as well. And then in here you can basically control the width of each column according to these layouts that you are seeing right here. So I'm going to pick this option right here, which is looking fine. And then in here you can adjust the height as well. So here you can see this is set to 60. If I'll make it 30 pixel, this will basically reduce the height of this column. Now under these design options right here, you can see we have some paddings and margin option, and then we have this inner column spacing option. So under the padding option, I'll basically unlink this, and from the top we can just have 10 pixels, and from the bottom we can have 10 pixels. And now we can see we have this tiny spacing right here. Once done, you can just click on this publish option right here, and this will basically publish all the changes that we make. Now you can basically go back. Now let's just try to edit this header. So if I hover over to this header option, you can see we have all of these different options. But if I hover over here, you can see we have this tiny pencil icon. So just click on this tiny pencil icon, and once you will click on this tiny pencil icon, you can see we have this header builder showing up right here. Again, the same thing, if you click on this cog icon right here, this will give you additional options. You can play around with these options, and then we have this primary menu, site title, and logo. So in your case, if you want to place this logo in the center, you can basically hold and drag it in the center, and this is place this logo right here in the center. And you can insert something else here. If you will click plus, you will have a ton of different options. So you can insert this button, dividers, language switcher, and the widgets, anything that you want to. So what I actually want to do is to insert a button. So let's just insert the button right here. Remember, we have added the button settings. So let's just click on this tiny pencil icon, and once you will click on this tiny pencil icon, this will give you some additional options. So here under the different options right here, let me just go back to their website, and here at the top you can see we have this button that says get started. So I want to change this button to get started, and once you will click on get started, this will basically change this, and I want this page to go to the contact page. So I'll just change the URL to the contact page URL, and then you can just click on this design options right here, and once you will click on design options, from here you can just reduce or remove this corner radius options right here, and it will basically remove all of these corner radius. It will get updated, don't worry. Now I want to drag it back in this first column right here, and the button will go right after this primary menu. So everything should look something like this. I think what I actually want to do is to insert the corner radius back, so we'll have the nice corner radius, and it basically looks fine, so I'm comfortable with that. Now let's just change the font sizes for this menu. So hover over to this menu and click on this menu, and then just click on this design option right here. So here you will also have this menu hover style. If you click on this, you can have the zoom in, underline, or overline. I want to pick this underline option. So as I hover over, there should be an underline right here. We'll have to set it up. So sub menu animation, we can also have the animations for the sub menu. In our case, we don't have a sub menu, so I'm not going to play around with this, but you can play around with this however you want to. Now let's just scroll down, and in here you will find some of the other options. You have this border color, border radius, and then you have this menu color. So under the menu color, you can see for the normal we have this black color, and for the hover we have these blue colors, and you can see these are looking fine. Then we also have this shadow options if you want to use, and then we have this font family options. So click on this font family option, and where it says font size, I want to increase the font size to 18 pixels, and then I also want to change this case to the uppercase, something like this. I want to do the same thing with this button as well, so I'll do the same thing with the button, don't worry about this. And then I'll probably, let's try some other option like this, zoom in. I guess it's not working for me right now, but you can basically add these options from here. Now let's just click on this button right here. You can go to the design options, where it says font, you can click on the font. I'll change the font to 18 pixels right here, and I'll change its case to the uppercase, something like that. And then we have this logo option right here, so you can just click on this logo, and if you'll go to the spacing or margin options, you will have all of these different options here as well. So once done, this is basically how you can create the header and the footer. And then in order to check if the header is responsive or not, you can just switch between the devices from here. Now if you click on this tablet device, you can see we have our logo, and then we have this toggle button. You can see there we have this toggle button. So you can just click on toggle button, and here it will give you some additional options. You can pick from the design. You can pick this design or this design, entirely your choice. I'm going to pick this design from here, and then from here you can choose the design, whether or not you want to have an outline or you want to have this fill kind of effect. So here I'm going to pick the fill, and then you can click on this design option, and here where it says background color, you can change the background color. So I'm going to pick the dark color for this one, and now you can see this is changed to the dark color. Now for the border radius, I want to give it very lighter border radius, like this 5 pixels of the border radius, so we'll have somewhat of the rounded corners right here. And if you want to increase or reduce the size, you can increase or reduce the sizes from here. I'm going to switch it back to how it was. Now here you can see we have this toggle button, and here you can see we have this off canvas menu. So if I click here, this basically show up the off canvas menu. You can basically edit this. Click on this off canvas menu, and once you click on this off canvas menu, here you have 3 different options. You can pick the fly out menu, and once you click on the fly out menu, now if I click here, you can see we have this fly out kind of menu which is coming from the right side. You can also pick the left side as well. I'm comfortable with the right side, or you also have the other options like this full screen menu and the drop down menu. You can decide however you want to keep it. Here you can see the pop-up width is 90%. I want to make it 80%, so we'll have our logo right here. And then in here you can see drop down target is a icon or link. Here you can see we have this icon, and here you have this content alignment. I'm comfortable with the left side. If you want to keep it in the center or the right side, you can change these options. Then you have this design options right here, and you can change the colors however you want to. I'm not going to change these colors from here. I'm fine the way it is looking. Here you can see we have this close icon setting. So here we have this close icon, and this is pop-up padding. I actually want to change the padding, so I'll keep it linked, and I'll add 25 pixels of the padding, or I'll probably add 35 pixels, so we'll have the nice spacing from these both sides. Now let's just click on these general options, and now we are back to this option. Now if you click on this off canvas menu, here you can see we have this option. So first of all, let's just add the item divider. Now you can see we have a divider between the items. Now here click on this design option, and here I only want to change the font. So just click on this font option right here. I'll increase the font size to 18, and from here I'll just change the case to the uppercase, something like this. And you can see this is how it looks. Let's just close it. And now if you will pick this mobile device from here, all the styling that we made on the tablet devices will follow up. So if I click here, you can see we have our menu showing up like this. So you can just close it from here. Now for this spacing option, I'll just click here where it says height. You can just click on this design option, and then you can just play around with this padding option. So you can reduce the padding from here, and then where it says margin, we don't use generally margins here. So just click on this general options, and where it says height, let's just give it 80 pixels, I guess 50 pixels. We don't have much of the height here, so that is why it is not getting applied. Then once that is done, we also have an border applied here, which is looking fine. And this is basically how you can create the responsive headers using the Astra Header Customizer in the Astra theme. Alright, now let's just click on this publish option right here. And once you will click on the publish option, you can basically go back, and this is where we are. Now let's just go here, and I want to see the footer of this website. So here under the footer, you can see we have some of these options. Let's just try to make this kind of footer. Let's just go in the customize option right here. Let's click on this footer. Now under this footer, you can see we have these 3 different options. So this one, we are keeping it for the copyright. I want to insert the options in this section or the row, whatever you want to call it. So let's just click on this tiny cog icon. If I look at it, we can see we have these 4 different options. I of course don't have this kind of big website, but I want to have 3 at least. So we have these 3 columns, but in here you can decide the width and the sizing of these options. So instead, what I am going to do is to pick this option right here. So I'll choose this width option, and then we can basically start creating our own things. And then you also have these design options. Under the design option, you can define the top border size, set the background, and all the other things. I will change these background settings and everything, but let's just insert the option. Click on this plus option right here, And once you will click on this plus option, here you will have the more options. So you can have the HTML if you want to use, or you can have the widget one. So I'll just insert the widget one right here, and here you can see it says add widget. Now inside this one I want to insert the widget 2, so there it will go the widget 2, and in this part I want to insert the widget number 3, so here we'll have the widget 3. Now let me just show you where we can edit this widget. So if you click on this shiny cog icon, here you can see we have this widget. You can click go, and then you can basically click publish. Now you have this thing publish. What you can do is to copy the URL and then just paste the URL right here. Once you will paste the URL, just go back and then go to the dashboard of your website. Once you will go to the dashboard, from here just hover over to appearance and then click on this widgets option right here. Here you can see this is the widgets area, and this is basically where we can control this widget that are showing up right here. So here you can see we have this footer builder widget 1, 2 and 3. Remember, we only have added 1, 2 and 3 widgets right there. So here just expand this footer widget, click on this plus. First of all, what I want to add is a heading. So you can click on this browse all, and then you can insert a heading right here. And for the heading, I want to call it navigation probably, or useful links. And then you can click on this plus icon right here, and this time I want to insert a list. So inside of this list, now on my website I don't have much of these pages. What I have is this home, services, blog, about and contact. So I want to have home, and then if you click on this navigator right here, just click on these 3 dots and then click duplicate. Now you can see we have more of these options. So home, about, and then duplicate it from here, select this and then add services right there, and then at the last you can have it as blog. Alright, now we have home, about, services as blog. If you click on this list option right here, you have this text color and the background color, then you have this dimension options, border options, and then advanced options. And then you have this list option. Under the list option you have the same things, and you can also attach the HTML anchors or CSS classes with some other dimensions, like the dimensions like paddings and margins. We will see if we'll need to change the padding and margins between these options, so let's just keep it the way it is right now. So this is our heading. Let's just change it to heading tag 3, and let's just click update. Now that we have clicked on update, let's just go to the front end of our website, and here you can see we have these useful links, home, about, services and blog. And the same way we are going to add more of these options. So in this second widget right here, what I actually want to do is to let's just copy both of these and let's just drag it inside this footer widget 2. Now we don't have anything in this footer widget 1. The only thing that I want to do is to duplicate this heading, select it and paste it under this header widget 1. So we'll have a heading here. And then I want to do the same thing with this heading. I want to place a heading for the header widget 3. So I'll select it and paste it under the header widget 3. So now if you look at it, we have these 3 headings here. If I click on this update option, if we'll go back and if I'll give it a refresh, now you can see we have this useful links and all these other different options. Useful links, and we don't have a heading here. Should be a heading right here because we have a heading right there. So sometimes it just takes some time to render all of these different things. Don't worry about this. Alright, so here under this option right here where it says useful links, what I actually want to do is to change this, to remove it, and then we can just insert an image, and then where it says media library, select the media library, and I want to insert the logo right here. So just insert our logo right there, and here we can basically adjust the width and the height, but I'll just click save and let's just go back and let's just give it a refresh, and now you can see we have our logo showing up right there. We can also adjust the width. So under the width, let's just make it 100. We don't want to change the height. Let's just give it a refresh, and now you can see this is 100 pixels. For some reason our heading is not showing up, so I'm going to change this heading and insert something inside this heading. Let's just update it and let's just give it a refresh, and now you can see this is showing up. So sometimes the easiest fix is to add something inside the heading, and it will basically start rendering the way it was rendering before. Now for this column right here, I want to insert the contact information. So this is our footer widget 3, and where it says useful link, I will add contact us right there. Now for this website, their current website, I'll just go to the contact page right there, and once you will go to the contact page, here we can find their contact information hopefully. So here you can see they have this email address and then these phone numbers. Of course we want to insert all of these different options, and for this one again I'll just use this list option that we have. So from here you can just click on plus and then insert the list, and then for the list you can just copy this address from here and insert the address, and then from here again just select this list item and duplicate this item. And for this one I want to insert the email address, so copy the email address and insert the email address right here, and then once again duplicate this, and this time I want to insert this information, the contact details, the phone number details, so I'll just insert them right there, and then we can basically duplicate it once again, and then we have this fax information, so I'll just copy this and insert the fax information right there. Now that we have it here, we can just click on this update, and now let's just go there and let's just give it a refresh, and now you can see this is basically how it is looking. We have this toll free, the direct, and the fax number, and then we have this useful links, and then we have this logo. I guess we'll have to increase the height of this logo, so I'll just make it 200, and then we can just click update. Now let's just go back and let's just give it a refresh. I guess 200 is looking a bit higher, so I'll have to reduce it to 150. Let's just update it. Let's just go back and give it a refresh, and I guess 150 is looking fine. So this is basically how it is. Now once that is done, we have our header and the footer created, and then you can see this is basically how our header and footer is looking. And I already showed you how you can create the header and footer using the Astra Header and Footer Builder. Now that we have these things created, we can basically start creating our pages. Now for the pages, I will show you how to create the pages with the Astra and Elementor, and this is where we'll start creating Elementor. Alright, so first of all you need to install the Elementor, so let's just go back. And from here what you want to do is to hover over to this plugins option right here and be sure you have this Elementor installed. For that you can just click on this add plugin, and from here just search for Elementor, or you can find it here, and then click on this install now and activate this. In my case I am also using Elementor Pro alongside this, so if you need the access to Elementor Pro, I'll drop the link of this plugin in the description of this video. You can download it from here. Now that we have it here, you can just go to this pages option, and then where it says home, just click on this edit, and once you will click on edit, where it says templates, just click on default template and make sure you click on Elementor full width, and then from here just click save, and once you will click save, you can basically click on edit with Elementor. Now I'll just have to go back to our reference website because that is basically what we are going to create. So let's just go there, and then under this drive I have this image created, so I'm just going to download this image from there. Alright, so here you can see our Elementor page builder is loaded. You can just close this, and we need this structure panel, so I'm not going to close this, and we have this panel right here. Elementor page builder is very user friendly page builder, and you will understand why. So here you can see, if I go here, you can see we have 1 and 2 columns right here and a big section at the bottom. So for that just click on this plus icon, click on flex box, and under the flex box option you can see we have this grids or the containers given. Now here you can see we have this big container right here and then a small container containing the image. So we can just pick this 50% right here, and then first of all what we actually want to do is to insert the font color in the background. So here you can see under the theme brand you can select this color, And then what we can do is to start inserting our text. So click on this plus icon, and where it says heading, insert the heading right here. And there you can see this is where our heading is looking. Click on this style and change the color to the white color. So there you can see we have the white color, and then we have this copy. Of course, for the copy I'll have to use their content that they have on the website. So I'll just copy this content from here and I'll insert the content right here, something like this. Now they also have a subheading, so I'll copy the subheading and I'll basically duplicate this and insert the subheading right here, and I'll have to increase the size of this one. So go to the style option, typography, and I'll change it to 48 pixels right here, and this one looks fine. I don't actually want to change the size of this thing. And then we have this button, fix my credit, so we'll have to insert the button. So here under the button, insert the button right here, and there you can see this is how the button looks. Go to the style option, under the color options you can change the color. So I'm going to change its color to the white color, and then the font color will be the blue color, something like this. And then where it says contact, for the contact we are going to change it to fix my credit. So here's another thing that I want to tell you is that we'll have to add the global settings for the Elementor as well, because I don't actually want to keep editing the style option for each of these elements that we are adding on the page. So in order to do that, hover over to this site settings, and once you will click on site settings, here under the global colors you can see we have these global color options. So for these global color options, I'll just click on this customize option right here, because I'm going to copy all of these settings that we did here. I'll copy this brand color from here. Under the Elementor where it says primary, I'll change the primary color. And then for the secondary color, I'll just copy this secondary color and insert the secondary color right there. And then we have this body text color. I'll just copy this body text color from here and insert the body text color right here. Then we have this accent color. So for the accent color, we are going to use a very light kind of color, something like this. So I'll just copy this accent color and insert the accent color right there. And then I also want to insert a white color, so I'll just add an entire white color and I'll label it as white. And then I can just click on this save changes. You will require to insert this global setting in the Elementor as well, so that Elementor works fine with your Astra theme. Now under this global option for the fonts, we can just go back from there, and where it says typography, remember we are using Helvetica for everything. So under the primary option right here, you can see it is set to Roboto. We can just change it to Helvetica. And we have this size of 17 pixels right here, with the line height that I want to give it is 1.3 am. And it says weight 600. I actually want to make it normal, because this is our, let's just keep it 600 because this is primary font. For the secondary font, I'll just keep it Helvetica, because that's the consistent font that we are using. For the text font, again we are using Helvetica. And for this font, we are definitely using 17 pixels. Then for this accent font, we are also using Helvetica. So I'll just pick Helvetica from here. And once done, you can just click on save changes. Once the changes will get saved, you can basically go back and you can just cross this. Now there we are. You can see our fonts are here. So just click here. Here you can see it says Roboto. You can just click on back to default, and this will change it back to default. Now if I click here under the pencil icon, you can just click this primary option, and then you can edit other options. So let me just insert a new heading right here. So let's insert a new heading, plus and insert the heading. We have this heading, click on color, and I'm going to change that to the white color that we have. And then I'll just copy this text from here, and I'll insert this text right there, and I'll get rid of this and remove this. Now for this heading right here, you can just click on pencil icon. You can see we have this Helvetica, and I'll change it to 42 pixels right there. Want to do the same thing here, so click on tiny pencil icon. You can see we have Helvetica, and I'll make it 36. I guess we'll have to increase the size of this one, so I'll just increase its size. And we'll have to reduce this line height so it looks fine. Now we have this button right here. For this button, for the buttons we are using the uppercase. So click on this transform and change it to the uppercase option right here. The font size will be 17 pixels, and then we'll have to adjust the padding. So for the padding, I'm going to give it 17 pixels from the top and 17 pixels from the bottom, 30 pixels on the left and 30 pixels on the right. Then we are going to give it a radius of 40 pixels, and this is how you can see it looks. And then another thing that I'm going to do is to change the weight to 600. And then when we hover over, I want the color should change to this secondary color, and the text color should change to the white color, something like this. And then we can also insert the hover animation, like this grow animation. So when you hover over, this should grow, something like this. Anyways, so this is basically you can insert the headings. Now that we have our headings in place, let's just reduce the spacing between both of these two. Click on this advanced and make it -10 pixels, and this should reduce the spacing between these options. Now let's just go here, and now here you can see we have this image right here, so we want to insert the image right there. So I'll just drag and insert the image right there, and then you can click plus, upload image, select file, and then this is the file that we need to import. Now we can just click on this select, and then this is how you can see this is looking. For this heading right here, if you look at it, you can see we have this big width right here, and then we have this small width right here. So if you click on this container right here, I wanted to change it to 70%, and this one will change to 30%, something like this. And now for every of these containers, click on this parent container, go to layout and change it to align center. And now you can see everything is aligned in the center. The only thing that I want to do is to reduce the width to 60%. So this shouldn't look that tiny. This should look something like this. Now we can also adjust the spacing. So click on this container right there, and then what you actually want to do, remember we are using 1320 pixels, so this is 1320 pixels. For this image you can reduce the image width, so reduce this image width to 60%, however you want to do it. And then we can insert some padding for this container. Go to this advanced option, go to this padding, and then in here at the top I want to insert 5 pixels, and at the bottom I also want to insert 5 pixels, something like this, or I do not need any padding right here. Now if you look at it, you can see we have this mobile screenshot is coming out of this blue background that is there. We are going to achieve something like this. For that, click on this image, click on advanced, click on margin, and add the negative bottom margin, and this will basically take your screenshot, image screenshot, out of this container. So I'm going to give it -70, and I'm going to increase the width just a bit, so it should look something like this. Alright, now if you look at it, you can see this is basically how it looks. Once done, you can just click on this publish right here. Once you will click on this publish option, we can start creating other sections. Now under this section, you can see we have these 3 columns right here, or 3 containers. So click on this plus, click on flexbox, and then in here you will have this option with these 3 containers. So click on these 3 containers. First of all, click on this image, and here you can see we are using -70, so we'll need to insert the 70 pixels margin at the top. So I'm going to give it, let's just look at the 70 pixels at the top, so let's just give it 70 pixels, so image will have its spacing and we'll have our own spacing. Now for this one, you can see the width is 25 pixel. I want to change it to 33 pixel. This one will also be 34 actually, and this one will be pixel, because 33 plus 34 is equal to 100. So this is where we are, and then we'll have to adjust the width. So the width is 1320, so click on our parent container, click on layout, and change it to 1320, and now you can see this is how it looks. Once that is done, we can start inserting this thing. Here you can see we have this icon, and then we have this support icon, and then we have this batch icon. So click on this plus, and from here just search for icon, and we want to insert this icon box. Insert this icon box right there, and then we can basically insert our icon. So click plus. Here you can see we have this calendar. So just search for calendar icon, and here you will find many of these calendar icons. So I'll just pick any one of these calendar icons, and this is how it looks. And then it says no charge for the day for 6 days. So I'll just insert this, and I'll remove the description from there. Now if you look at this color, you can see our heading is in the dark color. We want to do the same thing. Click on content, and where it says color, I want to change it to the dark color right there. Under the typography options, I want to change it to 400 right there, and I'll increase the size to 26, so it should look something like this. Once that is done, copy this from here and paste this inside both of these boxes. Now click on this option right here, click on this container, and here you can see we have this support icon. So search for support or headphone, and from here you can just select this headset icon, and then you can just copy this text from here and insert the text. Now this one we have this badge, so I'll just copy the text and paste the text right here, and then in here I'll change it to badge. You can pick any of the badge right here. Alright, so now you can see this is how it looks, and then you can just click on this publish right there, and it will get published. Now we'll have this published. You can basically look at it on the front end, but here you can see when I search for my website URL, this show me this page. We'll have to change it to our home page. For that, go to this dashboard option right here, click on this settings, and then click on this readings. Once you will click on readings, click on a static page. Under the home page, choose home, and then click save changes. Once you will click on save changes, you can click to visit site, and then you can see this is how our home page is looking. We'll have to increase the height of this image. Image height is looking very small, so increase the height to 75%, and then we'll just click publish option right here. And now if we'll go back, if I'll give it a refresh, you can see this is basically how it is looking. So now you understand how we can create these pages. We have created these two sections right there. Once we'll have these sections, then we have this discover the sky blue difference since 1989. In this section we are going to create these three containers. We are not going to make them carousel, instead we are going to make them containers. For that, what I want to do is to basically duplicate this right here, and then this time I want to give it a background color. So under the background color, I'll just use our accent color, and under the accent color I want to give it some padding at the top and some padding at the bottom. So the padding at the top, I'll give it 5% at the top and the 5% at the bottom, and then I'll get rid of these icons that we have right here. Alright, so here you can see that we need to have these 1, 2 and 3 of these boxes. So right here you can see we have 3 boxes. So from here, what I want to do is to insert this heading right there, and after the heading, what I actually want to insert is this text editor right there. So now we have this heading and the text editor, and then we need this kind of one. So I'll basically duplicate this one, and we can just call it 1. Now here for this one, you can see it says smarter disputes. It doesn't let me copy, so I'm going to inspect this, and then from here I can basically extract this heading text. So now here you can see it says smarter dispute. I'll copy this and insert this smarter disputes right there, and then for this text right here, I'll just select this bottom text, and there we have this bottom text. I'll copy this bottom text, and then I will just insert this bottom text right there. Now for the spacing between these elements right here, you can see it is set to as 10. I'll change it to 0, and then after the 0, what I actually want to do is to go to the advanced option for this one. Under the width option, set it to custom, and for the custom, just increase the width, and after that go to the advanced option, scroll down under the background where it says background type, change it to the blue color. Now for this style option, change it to the white color right here, and then where it says advanced, go back to the advanced where it says border radius, change the border radius to 80 pixels. Now we'll basically have to add the padding and we'll have to play around with the padding. On the right side I'm going to give it 20 pixels, and on the left side I'm going to give it 15 pixels, and on the right side we'll have to increase this value. So here you can see this is basically how it looks. We can just add the padding at the top and the bottom. You will have to play around with this value to find the right value for these things. So here you can see this is basically how it looks. And now we have this one. You can go to the style option and then you can increase the size, and once you increase the size you can then basically play around with these values to adjust the spacing. So let's just increase the width, and now you can see this is how it looks. Now for this spacing under this text right here, I want to give it 10 pixel at the top. So now you can see this is basically how it looks. For this heading right here, I'm also going to give it 10 pixels, and this is basically how it looks. Now for this, I'll select the container and then I'll go to the background type. I'll change that to the white color right here. Now I'll go to this advanced option and I'll give it 20 pixels of the padding from the all four sides, and then we can also give it some border radius. So go to border and give it 10 pixels of the border radius. Now we have it here. We can basically duplicate it 2 more times, and then we'll have 3 containers, and then we can get rid of one of these containers. Now you can see we have 3 containers. We need the gap between these containers, so select our parent container, go to the layout, and there you can see under the gap option I want to give them 20 pixels between the column and 20 pixels between the rows. So now you can see we have these containers looking something like this. This one I want to call it 2, and this one right here I want to call it 3. So now we have 1, 2 and 3 for the second one. So let's just scroll down. Let me just select the text for this quicker pace. So here I'll just copy the text and I'll replace the text right there. And then for this one, I will just copy this text from here and I will paste the text right there under this code. Alright, now we have this third one. So let's just scroll there. I'll select this text from here. It says better value. So I'll just copy this better value from here and I'll paste the better value right here. And then I'll copy this text from here and I'll change the text inside right here. And now you can see we have these 3 boxes looking something like this. Once done, you can then click on this publish button and then we can just close this navigator right here. Then we have this call to action section. So we need to insert the call to action section, and I'll use the blue color for this call to action section. So I'll choose this column direction. Under the style settings, click on the tiny pencil icon and then from here choose the primary. Then click on this advanced option, click on this percentage, and then from here on the top I want to give it 5%, and at the bottom I also want to give it 5%. And then for the width we are using 1320 pixels of the width. Once we have it here, then we need a big heading right here. So we can basically copy this heading from here and paste it right here. I'll copy the text from there and I'll paste the text. Our text is not visible because of the font color, so I'll change the color to the white color right here. Once we have it, then we require this kind of testimonial. So what I'm going to do for that is to copy this from here and then we can insert it right here. I'll basically copy this entire thing from there and then I'll insert this entire thing right here. Now where it says style, let's just change the color to the white color, and then once we'll have the white color we can just increase or reduce the font. So I'm going to make it 26, and then we also need to have the spacing, line height, something like this. If you want, you can use this, then you can click on this code. You can see it says span, so I'm going to reduce this span right here. We don't actually need the span option. Instead what we actually need is the line break option. So here under the code just add BR and it will add the line break right here. Once it will add the line break, from here we can just insert the padding on the left side. So from the left side I can just give it 20 pixels of the padding. So we'll have this big heading here and then small heading right here, and we can just increase the size of big heading to 40 2 right here. So it should look something like this. Then we have this button that says start now. So I'll just copy our button from here and I'll insert the button right here, and I'll change the text to start now, and you can see this is basically how it looks. In this case you can see the width is very small, so we can do the same thing. Click on this container, and for this width let's just change it to 800, and then you can see this is basically how it looks. You can even reduce it to 700 to find a sweet spot, whichever you think will look good. You can play around with this value and you will find your sweet spot. Once that is done, click on this publish button. Now we can scroll down. I actually don't need the pricing plan section right here, but in your case, if you need a pricing plan section, Elementor does have a pricing plan widget. So if you will search for pricing, here you can see you have this pricing table widget right here. You can use this pricing table widget. I'm not going to create the pricing table widget. Then we have this our members get more, no upgrades needed. So we need to insert the same thing in our case. So in order to create this thing, what we actually want to do is to create a table. So for the table, go back to the dashboard of your website right here. So go to the dashboard, go to the plugins option right here, and then from here click on add plugin, and then from here just search for table. And once you will search for the table here, this is the plugin that we are going to use, the table press. So click on this install now button, and once you will click on the install now button, this will get installed. Once installed, you can just click on this activate button right here, and once it will click on activated, from here just click on this skip button right here, and this will give you the option. From here I actually want to cross this out from there, and there you can see no tables found. You should add or import a table, or you can just click on add new table, or you also have this option to add new. So just click on add new, and then we can give it a title. So I want to give it a title of no upgrades needed, and then in here it will ask you about the number of rows and the number of columns. So we have a total of 2 columns right there, and then we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 rows. So number of rows are going to be 7, and then number of columns are going to be 2, and then click on add table, and once you will click on add table, this will basically add our table. Now you can cross this, and now here we can just insert this. So here first of all I will copy both of these and I'll insert it right here, and then from here I'll copy this next text and I'll paste the text right there. So in this way you can basically copy the text in the table and paste the text in our table, and then I'll just show you how it looks. Alright, so here you can see I have added this text right here. Under this option you will have further more options. You can go here and play around with these values. Here you can see alternating row colors, so we need to have the alternating row colors. And then we have this print table name. If you want to show the table name, you can also show the table name. And then in here enable visitor features like sorting, search and filtering, pagination, and then the info. We don't need any of these, so I'll disable all of these features right here. Once that is done, you can basically click on this save changes, and once you will click on the save changes, you will have your table ready. Now you can just click on all tables, and here you will have your shortcode. So here you can see it says show shortcode. Copy this shortcode from here, and then you can basically go back, and then from here what you actually want to do is to have this new container. So I'll add this new container right here. Click on advanced, click on percentage, and then add 5% at the top and the 5% at the bottom, and then from here search for short code widget and insert the widget right here and paste the widget. And now here you can see this is basically how our table is looking. Once you have the table in here, you can basically click on this edit option right here, and once you will click on your edit option, you can basically modify the other options as well. You can go here, and here you can see table header. The one is the table header. You can change it to 0 so that we don't have a table header. Alright, let's just insert this heading and the small heading right here, and then this is really easy. what you actually want to do is to copy any of these headings from here, and then you can paste the heading right there and then drag it at the top. Once you will drag this heading at the top, copy this heading from here and paste the heading right here. And then we'll have to change the size. Here you can see it's set as 36, change it to 36 right here. And then we'll have यार ये सारा कुछ रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है ना ताड़ा यार ये कर रहे हैं शोर ही नहीं ਉਹ ਜੋ ਕੁਰਸੀ ਐਵੇਂ ਚੂ 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 ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਕੁਰਸੀ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਪਾਣੀ ਐਵੇਂ ਲਾ ਰਿਹਾ so I'll just duplicate this one from here and then we can basically copy the small heading from here and we can insert this small heading right here. We'll of course have to change this font color and then I'll change it to 26 pixels right here. Now we'll have to reduce the spacing between this, so I'll adjust it using the margins and I'll give it -10 pixels of the margin. And then I want to align this text in the center and I also want to align this one in the center as well. And once done, you can just click on this publish option right here. Now let's just see what other sections we have. Here you can see we have this one section right here, so we can just copy this section from here and then we can insert this section right here and then we can just change the text. So copy this text from here and paste the text right here and then copy from here and paste the text right here and then we'll have to reduce this padding that we have added and then under the content just reduce this one as well. Now I guess we have some margins at the top, so I'll probably add -10 pixels to adjust the spacing between these items. And here you can see about us, so instead of start now I'll just change it to about us, and this is going to serve as a call to action section. And then we have this final call to action section right here, which is something that I'm not going to create because we are going to use this one as a call to action. So in this way you can basically create a custom home page using Elementor and Astra theme. Now we have it here, we can basically look at it. If you go to the front end of the website, here you can see this is basically how it looks. Once that is done, now we can start making it responsive. So click on this tabular devices and now here you can see this is basically how it looks. We actually want to make it responsive, so click on this main container where it says px, change it to percentage and change it to 90% right here, or you can change it to 95%. Once that is done, click on our container right here, click on percentages and I want to make it 50% right there. And for this one as well, I want to make it 50% as well. So both of them are going to be 50%. Now select our text right here and change the value to 38 and then select this text at the bottom and change the value to 28 right there. So it should look something like this. Then we have this image, you can see the image look like that. And then we have these three icons. Again, select our parent container, click on percentage and select 95%. So everything should be 95%. Click our icon. Under the icon option, change the size to 22 or probably 30. Just change it to 30 and then under the content, click on this title. It says 26, change it to 20 and then copy this from here and replace the style by clicking here and select paste style. Then we have this, so click on this container, click on percentages and choose 95% right here. And then here you can see it is set to as a row or horizontal, change it to vertical. And once you change it to vertical, select each container and change it to 100%. So it will have 100% of the width. So percentage and 100% and then again percentage and 100%. Now you can see these numbers are not looking good. So click on the number and where it says custom width, click on custom width and reduce the custom width. So here you can see on 11% it looks fine. I'll just copy this from here and where it says custom width, I'll change it to percentage and change it to 11%. So this should look something like this. So now you can see we have these things showing up like this. Then we have this call to action section. So under the call to action sections, of course, we'll have to reduce the font sizes. I'll make it 36 and everything else looks fine. We'll just have to adjust the width. So I'll make it 95%. Now for this table section, click on layout, click on percentage and choose 95%, and other than that it looks fine. And do the same thing with this one as well. Click on percentage, choose 95%, and everything else looks fine. Now on the mobile devices, you can see this is how it looks on our mobile devices. Click on our parent container, click on percentage here for the padding, and for the padding I want to give it 10% on the top, and then click on this container. Under the layout options, it is set to as 100%, change it to 90%. Now we'll have to adjust this font sizes. It is set to as 38, let's change it to 34%, and then it looks fine here, and this one also looks fine. And then we can basically increase the width of this image, so it should look something like this. Now we can adjust the gap between the rows, so I'm going to give it 20 pixels of the gap between these rows, so they should look something like this. Then we have these, so click on this container right here and then change the width to 95%. We can just increase the icon size, so instead of 30 I can make it 40, and then copy this and paste the hairstyles, something like this. Now we have this container, so click on this container, reduce any margins that we have, then go to the layout option and change the width to 90% here, because we want to make it 90%. And for this we'll have to increase the size, so let's just make it 20. Let's just try to increase the width. So I guess this looks fine on the 26%. I'll just copy this 26% from here and I'll insert the 26% width right here, so it should look something like this. Then we also need to have some padding at the top and the bottom, so select the parent container. I'm going to have 10% at the top and 10% at the bottom. Now we have this call to action section, click on this, and here you can see it says 100%, change it to 95% or probably 90%. And once you have it in the 90%, we can adjust the font sizes. It says 36%, change it to 32%. And then for this headings, this testimonial right here, I want to change it to 22%. And then for the line height is going to be 1.3%. And then for this button, you can increase the width by clicking on this option right here, and the button will become full width. Now we can also increase the padding at the top and the bottom, so I'm going to give it 10% at the top and 10% at the bottom. We are going to do the same thing here. Under the width option, I'm going to keep it 90% right here. We'll have to reduce the font size to 32%, 32 pixels, I guess it will be 28, and then we have this, and then we have our table showing up here. Then just click on the next container and we'll change the value to 90% right here, and then we'll just adjust the font sizes. Instead of 42, I'll make it 36, and then the font height will go 1.1%, and for this sizes right here, I'll change it to 22, and the line height will go 1.2%. Once done, then we have this button right here. Go to style and click stretch, and then you can see this is how it looks. Click on this parent container, click on advanced, and I'll increase the padding to 10% at the top and 10% at the bottom. Now here, this is basically how it looks. So in this way you can make your Astra website responsive as well. Now that we have created our home page, let me just show you how we can set up the blog using Astra theme. So for that, what you have to do is to go to the dashboard, and once you will go to the dashboard, you can click on this posts. Once you will click on post, just remove this default post from here. Now again, I'm taking the blog post from this reference website, and I will just take a total of 5 blog posts from there, just to give you an idea of how these things look. So just go in your WordPress dashboard, click on add post, and then from here, first of all, you need to insert the URL, the title of your blog post. So here, just insert the title of the blog post. Then we'll have to copy the image for the blog post, and then we'll have to copy this entire post content that we actually want to use. So I'll just copy this entire post content and I'll paste the content there. Now where it says post, click on the post, and here you will find the option to set the featured image. So just click on the featured image, click on upload file, click on select file, and then upload your featured image. Once you will upload your featured image, from here just click on set featured image, and it will just set the featured image. Now along with that, we can also insert the categories that we want to attach to this blog post. So let's see what categories they are using. They have this blue water credit, credit education. So I'll just try to copy these categories from here. Let's just go back. Here, if you will click on the categories, this will give you the option. Click on add a new category, insert the text for the category title, and then just hit enter or click on add category. This will basically insert the category, and in the same way I will add more categories in our WordPress dashboard. So here you can see I have added this one by accident. So in order to fix this, you can just click on this categories option here, and then we can basically delete the category from there. Now here WordPress also gives you an uncategorized category. You can also change it to any category that you have. Be sure to change the slug and then click update. Now if you will go back to the categories here, you can just add more categories that you have. So I'll quickly add all of these different categories that we have. So just add the category, insert the last category here, and then click on add category, and this is our last category, credit score facts, and click on add category. So now you can see we have these different categories. Now here you can see this hasn't been updated, so click on this save draft option right there, and then from here click on refresh, and it will automatically refresh this blog post. Now here you can see all of these different categories that we have added. Select the relevant categories, and under the tags you can also attach the tags if you want to. I'm not going to attach the tags, and then just click on this publish option. Once you will do that, I'll add the new category here, which is the second blog post that we need to add. So I'll copy the title and I'll paste the title right here. Now we'll have to copy this post featured image from there, and then I will basically copy this entire post content from there, and I'll paste the post content right there. Now if I click on this post, we can also set the featured image. I'll have to upload the featured image from there, and then you can click on set featured image and then select the relevant categories, and then click on this publish option right there. Now I'll just add new featured new post here. So I'll just copy the post and insert the post right here. Once again, we'll just save this featured image in my computer, and then we will just copy this entire content from there, and I'll paste this entire content right here. Now under the post option right there, I'll once again upload this featured image from here, and once the featured image will get uploaded, I'll just click on set featured image, and then we can basically select these relevant blog post categories. Now that we have 3 of these here, we just need to upload 2 more of these categories. So I'll copy this post and I'll paste the post right here, and then I'll basically copy the featured image from here. I guess we have 2 different images. No, this is just one image. So then after that, we'll just copy this post content from here, and I'll paste the post content right here. There is another way of doing it, but I'm not going to go in details into that. I'm just showing you the basic way to add the blog post in your WordPress dashboard. Then we'll just upload the featured image and set the featured image here. Once again, we'll select these different categories, and then we can basically publish this. Once again, click on add a post, and this is the last post that we need to add. So copy the post and paste it here, save the featured image, and then once again copy the entire content of the blog post. And once you will copy this entire content of the blog post, then we can basically paste this content, and then we can go to post, and then we can upload the featured image right here. Once done, set the featured image, select the relevant categories from here, and once you will select these relevant categories, click on this publish button. So now if I click on this all posts, you can see we have all of these different options. But now if I go to the front end of our website, I will click on this blog option. You can see we don't have anything right here. So in order for our blog post to show up on this page, what you actually want to do is to click on this settings option right there, and then click on this reading option. Then here where it says post page, make sure you select this blog and then click save changes. Now if you will go back to our blog page and if you will give it a refresh, notice that all of our blog posts are basically showing right there. Now that we have all of our blog posts showing up right there, we can start customizing this blog post. If I open any of these blog posts here, you can see this is the template for our blog post. This is not looking very fine, but we can make it look good. So let's just go back and let's click on the customize option. So once you will click on the customize option, the customizer will start getting loaded, and here you can see we have the customizer. So once you will have the customizer, here you can see we have this post type option. Remember I told you we'll get back to this option. First of all, we have this blog or archive option. So under the blog or archive option, you can see we have this blog title area, which is set to display. You can uncheck this and it will hide the area, or you can set this to display the area, and then you can basically show the blog post area and enable the blog or post page. And here you can see we have this title area showing up. If we go to our reference website, let's just see if they have a blog title area here. They sure have a blog title area, but they are instead using an image. We can, if we want to use an image, or we cannot use an image. That is entirely our choice. What I actually want to do is to go back and I'll hide this area from here. Now the next thing that we have is this container layout. So under the container layout, again the same thing, we can use the normal layout, or we can use the full width layout, or we can use the narrow layout. So you have three different options available here. I want to use this narrow layout right here. Then we have this container style. So under the container style, you can see we have default selected. If you want to use boxed, we can pick the boxed option, and then we can also pick the unboxed option. That will basically unbox the entire thing. Or you can just pick this default option right here. What I want to do is to pick this unboxed option, and then if on this page you need to have a sidebar, you can just enable the sidebar option from here and it will give you a sidebar. Of course we don't have any of these widgets right here, but you can enable the sidebar option here, and then you can insert the widgets right here. I'm going to select it without the sidebar. Then we have the sidebar style, of course, and different options. Then we have this blog layout. So under the blog layout, you can see we have the grid selected here. If you want to have the list layout, you can just select the list layout, and you can see this is how the list layout look. And then you can have the cover layout, which is the third option, and this is how the cover option look. But I guess the grid looks very fine, so I'll just go ahead with the grid option right here. Then we have this content width option. We don't actually want to change the content width, but then it is up to you. If you want to attach the custom width, you can just click on the custom and attach the custom width right there. Then here, if you look at this post structure options right here, first of all, we have this featured image. If you will click on this tiny arrow, you will have further more options. You can pick the 4:3 option, which will make these images a bit which will increase the height of these images. And then you have this hover effect. Right now it is set to as zoom in. You can select the zoom out. If you hover over it, now you can see have this zoom out animation. Then you have this categories option. So under the categories option, you can see all these different categories that are showing up. You can use the badge option and it will show up as these badges, and I guess the badges looks fine. Or you can pick the underline option. I think I'll just go ahead with the badges because that's looking clean. Then we have this title option. If you can hide the title, I want to keep it. Then we have the post meta option. So under the post meta option, we have this author name and the date option right here. So if you want to have it, you can have it, or if you want to hide it, you can hide this entirely. So I'm going to hide it, and now you can see we don't have it here. Then we have the post excerpt option, and then we have tags and read more. I want to display the read more button, so we'll have this read post option. right there that says read post, which is basically the read more option right there. Then you have some design options. So if you go to design option, you can control the border radius of all of these different cards. Right now it is set to as 6. You can change it to 10 and it will basically modify the corner radius of all of these blog posts. Once done, you can just click on this publish button, and then here you have this post title size currently set to as 20. I'm going to increase it to 28, and on the 28 you can see this is how it looks. I think it's looking a bit bigger, so I'll just make it 26, and on the 26 this looks just fine. Once done, you can just click on this publish option, and this will basically take care of your archive page. Archive pages, the category pages, and your blog page. Now you can basically go back and then open any of these blog posts. So let me just open one of these blog posts, and here you can see this is our single post. So just click on this single post option right here, and once you will click on single post, you can see it is set to as narrow. You can change it to the normal width so that it will cover the normal width right here. Now if you want to have a sidebar here, you can enable the sidebar option right here, and it will give you a nice sidebar, but I guess I will pick it as without the sidebar, so I'll just pick this no sidebar option. We have some big images here. The icons will have to modify them manually because I copied it. That is why it is looking like this. So let me just open any other post. Let's just open this post right here. So here again on this one, you can see the icons are the big problem here, but other than that everything is looking fine. Content width, we have set it to normal, and then if you want to display the related post, just enable the related post option, and if you will scroll down, you will have this new box with the related post, and then in the related post I want to display 3 different posts, so it will display 3 different posts. And then we have post query. Currently it is set to as categories, so set it to categories. This is fine. Then we have this post structure right here for these related posts. We don't want to change the post structure for this related post, so just scroll up, and once you will go up here, you can see post title area. Enable the post title area, and here you can see right now it is set to as layout 1. You can switch to layout 2, and once you will switch to layout 2, here you can see we have big title, and then we have this. You can also enable the breadcrumb here, and once you will enable the breadcrumb, here you can see we have the breadcrumb. I want to hide this meta option from here, so I don't actually want to display the meta. Then we have this featured image, so let's just enable this featured image here as well, because we actually want to display the featured image, and this is where our featured image is showing. And if you want, you can also enable the taxonomies option as well, and you will have these taxonomies as well. I actually don't want to display the taxonomies. And then for the featured image, if you will click on this arrow, here you can see the image position is set to as none. You can just click on this below option, and it will move the featured image below this title, and this is where it is. And then in here you can define whether or not if you want to set it to 4 by 3 dimension, 1 by 1 dimension, or 2 by 1 dimension. That is entirely your choice, whichever option you want to choose. Or if you want to use it as the background, you can use the image as the background as well, and it will show up somewhere like there. I don't want to show it as a background, so I'll just disable this option from here, and right now this is looking fine. Now let's just close this option from here. Now you can also change the position of the title. You can make it center align, left align, right align, however you want to make it. Then the vertical alignment is set to as middle, and which is fine. Now for this container right here, if you click on this tiny pencil icon, you can see we are on the right place. You can click on the design option. Now where it says background, I want to change the background color to the white color right here. So at the top you can see we have the white color for the title area, and then we have this title color which is set to as black color, and it is looking fine. Banner minimum height is something that you can change, so if you want to change it, you can give it 120 pixels. And then inner element spacing is set to as 15 if you want to increase or decrease the element spacing as well. Then we have this title font and the text font and the margins and everything else looks fine, so I think we don't actually have to edit all of those things. So in this way, you can also create the blog post and single post pages using the Astra theme. I hope you have found this tutorial helpful. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to hit the subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell icon to always get the latest video updates. If you have any recommendation or you want me to create a tutorial on any topic, you can drop it in the comment section. If you have any queries, contact me on the WhatsApp. If you need my help creating your website, you can also contact me on the website. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.